I used to believe that paying attention to everything made me more aware, more intelligent, more alive. Social media notifications, news alerts, every conversation around me, every problem that wasn't mine to solve. I consumed it all, like a starving person at a feast. But then I discovered something that Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world, wrote in his personal diary 2,000 years ago. 3 simple words that completely shattered my understanding of what it means to live consciously. What he revealed wasn't just philosophy, it was a survival strategy that kept him sane while ruling an empire and fighting wars on multiple fronts. Marcus Aurelius wasn't some isolated philosopher sitting in an ivory tower. He was the Roman emperor, commanding legions, making life and death decisions for millions of people, dealing with plagues, invasions, and political conspiracies. Yet somehow, in the midst of this chaos, he found a way to maintain his inner peace and clarity. His secret wasn't meditation retreats or escaping from the world. It was something far more radical and practical. He learned to treat his attention like the most precious currency he possessed, and he spent it with the precision of a master economist. But here's where it gets disturbing. In our modern world, we're drowning in a sea of stimuli that would have driven even Marcus Aurelius to his knees. Every day, we're bombarded with 34 gigabytes of information. That's enough to crash a laptop from the 1990s. We check our phones 96 times daily, switching between tasks every 11 minutes, and wonder why we feel scattered, anxious, and constantly. Behind the ancient Stoics called this phenomenon prosoche, which means continuous attention or mindfulness. But they weren't talking about paying attention to everything. They were talking about the opposite. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of history's greatest philosophers, taught his students a revolutionary principle. Wealth consists in not having great possessions, but in having few wants. But he wasn't just talking about material possessions. He was talking about mental possessions, the thoughts, worries, and distractions we allow to occupy our minds. Think about your last week. How many hours did you spend worrying about things completely outside your control? The traffic jam that made you late, your coworker's attitude, the political situation, your neighbor's loud music. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher who advised emperors, calculated that most people waste 80% of their mental energy on things they cannot influence. Imagine having 80% more mental capacity for what actually matters to you. What could you accomplish? What problems could you solve? What relationships could you deepen? But here's the twist that most people miss about Stoicism. It's not about becoming emotionally numb or indifferent to the world. Marcus Aurelius loved deeply, cared passionately about justice, and felt genuine grief when his children died. The Stoics weren't trying to eliminate emotions. They were trying to eliminate unnecessary suffering. And they discovered that most of our suffering comes not from what happens to us, but from paying attention to things that drain our energy without producing any meaningful benefit. Here's what shocked me when I first read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. This wasn't a published book. These were private notes he wrote to himself, never intended for anyone else to read. In these intimate pages, you see the most powerful man in the world reminding himself again and again to focus only on what he can control. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This wasn't theoretical philosophy. This was his daily practice, his survival manual for maintaining sanity in an insane world. The Stoic practice of selective attention works because it aligns with how our brains actually function. Neuroscience has proven that our attention is finite. We can only process a limited amount of information before our mental circuits overload. When we try to pay attention to everything, we end up paying attention to nothing effectively. But when we consciously choose what deserves our mental energy, something miraculous happens. Our focus becomes laser sharp, our decision-making improves, and we develop what psychologists call cognitive flexibility, the ability to adapt and respond effectively to what actually matters. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, already late for an important meeting. Your old pattern might be to stress about the traffic, which you can't control. Worry about being late, which increases your stress but doesn't help, and mentally rehearse apologies and excuses. The Stoic approach is different. You acknowledge the situation. Yes, you're stuck in traffic. Then you ask, what can I actually control right now? You can call ahead to reschedule, use the time to review your meeting notes, or simply practice remaining calm under pressure. You redirect your attention from what's happening to you to what you can do within the situation. This isn't just about productivity, it's about freedom. Real freedom isn't the ability to do whatever you want. It's the ability to want what you choose. When you master your attention, you stop being a victim of circumstances and become the author of your own experience. You realize that between every stimulus and your response, there's a space. And in that space lies your power to choose. Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire for 19 years, faced multiple wars, survived a devastating plague, and dealt with the betrayal of his most trusted general. Through it all, he maintained his philosophical principles and is remembered as one of the 5 good emperors. His secret wasn't superhuman strength or unlimited resources. It was the disciplined practice of directing his attention only toward what he could influence and improve. Today, you have the same choice he had. Every notification, every worry, every piece of drama or gossip or outrage, you can choose whether to give it your mental energy or not. The Stoics understood something we've forgotten. Attention is not just what we think about, it's who we become. What you consistently pay attention to shapes your character, your relationships, your success, and your happiness. The question isn't whether you have time for what matters. The question is whether you have the courage to stop paying attention to what doesn't. Marcus Aurelius knew that the quality of your life is determined not by what happens around you, but by what you choose to focus on within you. That's not just ancient wisdom. That's your birthright as a conscious human being. Start today. Choose one thing that's been consuming your attention but adding no value to your life. Stop feeding it your mental energy. Redirect that power toward something that aligns with your values and goals. You'll be amazed how quickly your world begins to change when you change what you pay attention to. After all, you become what you consistently focus on, so focus wisely.